Hey everybody, welcome to this week's edition of See It Work. My name is Dan Verville. We're here alongside the one and only Derek Chalmers. DC, how are you today?
Good.
Good. Well, you saw the promo commercial, you saw the video, you know what today is going to be all about. Today is all about Coleman trail bikes, and we are very excited to be featuring this great product. Before we dive into everything about that, as with the last couple of weeks, we got another great giveaway. So today, if you leave a comment, ask a question, you might be drawn at the end to win this great Raider Powersports package, which comes with this helmet. Yeah, it's very nice, very scary. And some goggles and a nice bag. You won't have this one because I believe that's been used. We'll give you a fresh one, so that's good. So trail bikes. We've had them at Princess Auto for a long time.
Yeah, probably for close to 50 years.
50 years, really?
That's right, yeah.
Wow. So what's changed over the years?
Well, we've got a little bit of suspension on some of the bikes, but the basic build of them is basically the same. Yeah.
Oh.
Updated engines, overhead valve engines.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a few images here of some past trail bikes.
Yeah, these are our catalog shots from probably the early 70s.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can see, basic steel frame, padded seat, gas tank. That's probably a Briggs & Stratton style motor on those guys.
Look at that guy on that thing.
Styling.
Might be my dad.
It could
Looks
be.
nice. I like the color. Same color as the bike we have.
Yeah, that's right. And accessories, right? Chain drives, tires, brakes, those kind of things. We still stock those.
Wow. So we have everything. Obviously we sell trail bikes. We have all the gear for them. We've had it for years. We know what we're doing when it comes to trail bikes. So let's talk about this particular model.
Right.
This is the Coleman BT 200X, 196 cc's. Let's walk through all the parts of this machine.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I mean, it's a pretty basic setup. Obviously, single rider. It's got a 196 cc engine. It's got a single brake that would be the left-hand side.
How fast 196 cc?
196 cc, you're in that 6 to 6.5 horsepower range. You're probably on this bike going to get maybe 25 to 30 miles an hour, depending on the weight of the rider.
Because all I know, 200 cc is how fast I drive in Mario Kart. So that's how I gauge the speed of this thing. And it says very fast. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, sorry, but that's for two people, and that's what we do it for. So, we got different parts of this bike.
Right,
so the headlight.
Headlight, yeah. So we've got a fixed headlight here. There's a bulb in it. So it is replaceable if the bulb does burn out, at some point. It's easy to get at, easy to change. You could update that to a brighter LED light if you're going to be doing some, riding out in the country at night. Absolutely, yeah. If you've got your property and you want to get out there in the back country. It's handy, adjustable for height. There's some adjustment there as well.
Okay, let's take a look at the handlebar now.
Yeah,
handlebar brake.
Yeah, so that's going to be the left-hand side of the handlebar setup. That's going to be your hand brake, and that goes down to a drum brake that's on the rear wheel.
Which we'll take a look at later. Okay, now the kill switch, which is
that's right next to the throttle.
Used just to stop it.
That's it. Yeah, it's a start and stop. So to start the bike, you're going to have the kill switch turned on, and that's going to allow the ignition to fire and get the power through to the coil. When you want to stop it, or if there's an emergency, you just hit the big button on the bottom and it'll kill it. Easier to stop, right? If there's something happens, something comes out in front of you. It's a good safety feature.
Okay, and then the seat.
So the seat, nice long padded seat.
Yep.
You could get some vinyl protectant for it if you're going to have it out in the weather and keep some of the water and whatnot off it. Yep.
Can you get other kinds of seats for it?
These ones, I'm pretty sure it's a fixed seat style. One could adapt the seat if they wanted to, right? There's it bolts on, so it's a very quick removal if you want to do some extra padding or make it wider, make it fancier, right? Get something custom put on. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, if you're just tuning in, just joining us right now, I'm Dan. This is Derek. You're watching See It Work, the show where you get to see Princess Auto's products live in action. Today we're talking about the Coleman 196cc trail bike, and as always, fire in your questions. We got a whole pile of questions right now. This is a very popular product, so let's dive into a couple of these. Keith wants to know: is the Coleman mini bike good on gas?
It's pretty thrifty, yeah. Tank of gas would probably last, on average, depending on how fast you're riding, and of course the weight of the rider will affect that a little bit. I'd say you'd probably get at least a couple hours of riding, if not more.
Okay, well that actually dives right into the next question. We already talked about how many horsepower. I believe you said 6 to 7 horsepower. Is that
just around 6, just over 6.
Just over 6, okay. So Ron wants to know, what's the weight rating on the bike?
Weight rating is 220 pounds. So I myself have ridden on it. I'm a little north of 220 pounds, but it's, especially with the front suspension, it's a smooth ride. Yeah. Okay.
Brian and Delta, what kind of performance add-ons can be added?
Well, you could go to a, like I say, on the lighting, you could do LED. On the engine side, you could go to maybe a torque converter style, so you won't be having as fast a engagement of the clutch, but it'll be smoother and it'll be a wider power band. I mean, one could also put a slightly larger motor in it as well if they wanted to.
If you wanted to go that route, and the body could take...
They could, yeah. It's a very, very solid steel frame. There are aftermarket companies that do make replacement performance components for them, exhaust, carburetors, internals, so there's lots of options for that.
Well, let's go back. You said you could change the motor on it if you wanted to. But let's talk about the engine that's on this this machine right now. So this guy,
it's
a pull start.
It's a pull start overhead valve.
I call it lawnmower start.
Lawnmower start, that's right. Yeah, it's very basic, very simple to maintain. It's a kind of a standardized overhead valve setup, so the bolt patterns across that engine family are similar. Very straightforward to get to. Spark plugs, check your oil, clean your air filter, do all those kind of things, check your chain. So right there we show a shot of the recoil. That's what you're going to use to start the unit after everything's turned on, the choke's turned on, the fuel's turned on, and the kill switch is set to run.
Okay, 3 very important things to think about
That's
before
right.
you start this.
Very simple.
Do not just pull it.
Nope.
Not that I know anything about that. But drum brake, that's the next thing we're going to look at. You kind of touched on it briefly.
Yep. So there's a drum brake on the back, and that's at some point in the maintenance schedule on the bike, there's going to be some adjustment that's required to it, of course, after it's worn in a little bit, just to make sure that it's going to be stopping for you and as safe as it could be.
Okay.
Yep.
And you also you mentioned the shocks earlier.
Yep, there's a front fork suspension, and it's really nice if you're going over something that's got a lot of ruts, you've got some rocks or some hills or whatnot. It's nice. It's less shock on your arms. So if somebody's not a confident rider, it's also nice to have because it takes that first few minutes. Yeah, it takes the shock out of it. And it makes it a little bit more comfortable and puts them at ease.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now the foot pegs on this machine.
That's right. The foot pegs are there.
Yep. What a foot peg shot.
Yep.
You won't see a finer foot peg shot around. Look at that thing. Wow.
That's all you need.
That is where let me take that. That's where you put your foot when you're riding.
That's exactly
the bike.
Yep.
Nailed it.
That's right.
There
And they fold up for storage as well.
Yep. Yeah, they do fold up, don't they?
They do.
That's very nice.
That's right. It's one feature.
We got some more questions. If you're just tuning in, you're watching See It Work. I'm Dan. This is Derek. This is where you get to see all of Princess Auto's great products live in action. Today, Coleman Trail Bike, 196 cc's. Lots more questions rolling in. Brian in Delta wants to know, can you register it for insurance?
This unit cannot be registered, so this would be for off-road use only. Typically, keep it to property that you own, or if you have someone that has some acreage you could run on, but cannot be ridden on the street, cannot be registered.
No. And you want to make sure you follow all those rules.
That's right.
And whatever is the rules in your province.
That's right. Every municipality is going to vary.
Kyle in Ontario, this is a very Brad Paisley question here. We love this one. Can you get mud on the tires?
You certainly can.
Yes,
we actually had some mud on the tires on one of these, and we were just cleaning it off before the shoot.
You can get mud on those tires. Could you put an electric starter on it? That is from our friend Rick.
Yeah, if you could find something from a suitable, similar style of engine, you certainly could. Yeah.
Oh, okay, suitable style of engine. What brand of engine is this on here right now?
So right now it's styled after a Honda motor, the overhead valve build that it is. So it is something that you could either replace directly with the Honda, or there's many iterations of them. We sell our Power Fist motors, are basically the same engine you've got here. Typically you don't see an electric start in this size of motor until you reach, say, maybe 9 horsepower. But some of the smaller ones in, let's say, a snowblower application would have an electric start.
Okay.
Yeah. So you need a small battery to go along with that, right, and a small key switch, but that would be quite easy to do. Yeah.
Keeping going with the engine talk. Dave in Winnipeg, what is the shaft diameter of the engine?
If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's a 3/4 shaft on this motor.
3/4 shaft. Now, there's one question on here that jumped out to me. Kevin in Transcona, he sent a question. He said, is it comfortable to ride? Now,
it's very comfortable.
Is it comfortable to ride?
Is it? Yeah, it is, and especially with the shocks. That's the one big feature of these bikes.
Yeah.
I've ridden solid framed mini bikes with no suspension, and you can play with the tire pressure a little bit on these guys. Take maybe a pound or two out, depending on what kind of terrain you're going over. It's really rocky, or like say heavy ruts, or you have some small logs you're going to go if you're going to go like really off road. But yeah, with the shocks on it, it's very smooth.
And Derek, I gotta surprise you here. I can also say it is very comfortable to ride because I kind of snuck out.
Did you?
I got a chance to sneak out, and I got a chance to ride this bad boy.
All right.
I did. So I think we have some footage of that. This is my new demo reel for my life because it's amazing. I want to show this to everyone. This is world premiere footage right here, so we can just kind of talk through what's going on. Here, I'm kind of very scared. Never ridden one of these before.
Never ridden one. But you've ridden a bike before, right?
I have ridden a bike.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how would you say it compares to riding a pedal bike once you start?
Way easier than riding a pedal bike.
Right. So the nice thing about these bikes, right, as you've found very quickly, is once you're kind of, set up to go, a light application of the throttle, and it'll start to pull itself forward. And the faster you go, it's actually a little bit more stable, right?
Yeah.
You're going a little bit more speed, you get a little bit more stability, and it stays upright.
And I think for me, being a newer rider, one of the things I didn't really account for was that first initial jump.
That's right. Yep.
Because you turn, and you start to go, you're like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
it's gonna go.
They're very torquey, and the clutch can, the style of the clutch that's in there, it's a centrifugal clutch. So it can engage, a little faster than some people are maybe used to, and that's a little hard to get used to at the start. But once you get a few starts and stops in, it's easy peasy.
Yeah, and here I almost lost it there, almost crashed. You can kind of see the back tires.
That's really, that's really hard to navigate.
It's on sand. I've never driven on sand before. And it is.
Well, if you ever walked uphill on sand, it's the same thing.
Well, is there a way to kind of, I think you talked about it earlier, let some air to the tires to kind of.
You could adjust the tire pressure a little bit. Also, I mean, if someone were in a really sandy environment, let's say they lived next to an old quarry or something like that, they had, sand hills in the back of their property, and we have some of those out west. You could go to a paddle style tire, right? Okay. So you could change the tire. They're a 19 by 7 by 8 tire, so they're available in different types of profiles and applications.
It's great to watch this stuff, to know that I don't look like I'm totally inept at driving.
No, well, I mean, they're very easy, right? So if you can, going over those big ruts and things, I mean, it took the shock out of your upper body.
It did.
With the shocks?
It did. I will say, it was a little intimidating at first, especially being close to a body of water like that.
Right.
Because you don't know. Like I was doing some turns, and I was like, okay, I'm trying to feel out.
Yeah, you want to, you don't want to end up getting the seat wet.
Yeah, as I cited earlier, my experience on these comes from Mario Kart, and there's no bad things that can happen from that.
No, not
so,
at all.
And you don't want to get your seat wet. Kyle asked, can you put a snorkel on it? Is that
you could. Yeah, you could. You'd have to. You might want to try and get a longer exhaust on it as well, right? Just in case you throttle down and the water will pour in. But yeah, you could put a snorkel on it.
All right, a few more questions. Once again, you are watching See It Work. I'm Dan. This is Derek. We're talking about the Coleman trail bike today. This is the show where you get to see Princess Auto's products live in action. We just saw some awesome footage of me riding the bike. If you missed it, you can watch it again later, just like I'll be doing, and showing it off to everyone I know. So a few more questions coming in before we talk about some of the accessories with this product.
Sure.
Does it have a rear suspension upgrade available? That's from Jay.
It does. This model does not currently, but who knows what we'll have in the future.
Okay. And Chuck wants to know, are they good in the snow? Have you driven one of these in the snow?
I've not driven one in the snow. I was about a month away from snow last year, but I didn't actually have any chance to drive one in the snow. So that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. That would be great.
Yep.
So I had a great time riding this trail bike.
Yeah.
I would like to buy one.
Sure.
What are some of the things I need besides just the bike so I can give it the proper care, maintenance, and home that it needs?
Right. Well, I mean, transport these guys, that's the key thing, to get it back and forth. If you have property, you can drive it out of the garage or the shed and get onto the property. It's easy. If you have to go somewhere, you'll need some ramps, some safety straps for tie down. Yeah. Obviously, you're going to be going to helmets and things like that as well.
Let's talk about the ramps.
Sure.
I mean, because these are light.
Yeah.
Like all things considered, they're pretty light.
35 pounds, I think.
Here's some ramps that we have at Princess Auto.
Yep. So those are aluminum, and the very important thing here with any ramp that you're going to be putting on the back of a vehicle or a trailer, you're going to want to have to tie it down. Ratchet straps are great because they're quick and easy to adjust. It just takes the chance of that thing sliding off when you're halfway up. And riding up is never ideal.
No.
If you can walk it up, either with a partner or if it's light enough if you can get it up by yourself. And that stands for, like I say, go-karts like we've got here, mini bikes, lawn tractors. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good for transport.
Yep. We have a ramp here, actually, a bifold. This is called a bifold aluminum ramp.
You want to pick this up?
Yep.
Let's pick it up.
Yep. So bifolds would indicate that it would fold in half. There's a hinge section on the front here.
That's good.
Yep. And there's some trifold ramps as well. So this one would be, probably judging from the ramp here, maybe just over 30 inches wide, but we have some that will go to closer to 4 feet wide for loading larger things, scooters, go-karts, lawn tractors, snow blowers. Yeah.
Okay. So that's your transport. Now let's talk about storage.
Storage, yeah.
So we've got some different storage options. We got some motorcycle stands. So if you want, we'll take this out. I'll bring in a new bike. We'll show you another bike on the stand.
Yeah.
So let's roll this guy out.
Yeah. So we're going to be bringing in.
Grab this guy in.
Yeah, we're going to be bringing a different version of this bike.
Yeah. We're going to look at some
referred to as a wide body. And the wide body is going to be the rack on the back.
Look at that great shot.
Yeah, look at that.
Wow. Could watch this footage all day. Shocker. That's me and Terry ripping around on the dunes.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
That's Terry. Terry's, you know, he's a pretty good driver.
He looks expert at it.
Little, not as good as I, but you know, it's okay. It's all right. So this is a motorcycle stand.
Yep.
Pretty easy to use.
Very straightforward. It's a 300-pound capacity. It's a scissor lift style. So Dan, if you want to come around to the front here, the large pedal that you're going to be closest to, that's the lift. The drop pedal is the one that's smaller one that's underneath it. So if you start pumping that large pedal,
and we're all secure.
We're all
here.
tied down
We're
as
all
usual.
up.
Anytime you're going to lift something, you want to make sure your load's secured. And it'll pump up. This unit here, the top of the bed will reach somewhere in the 34 to 36 inch.
As I hit the other one.
Yeah, you don't want to hit the drop. And as you come up for doing wheel service, brake service, chain service, engine service, or even just to store it when it's down and it's dropped the position, it's very handy.
So while this is up there, how much service does this bike need?
So basic maintenance on it is going to be as simple as any other small engine. You're going to be using high test premium fuel. Stabilize the fuel. If you can, stabilize the jerry can with the fuel in it. Any small engine you have is going to love that. You're also going to be looking at things like the chain. Is the chain clean? Does it need to be lubricated? There is a tension adjustment on the chain on the front of the back of the bike on the left-hand side. And that's basic maintenance on that side. On this side here, we've got our air filter. It's a paper filter with a foam filter on the external of it. And that's something you can rinse off and clean. That's going to be like a pre-filter to keep the paper filter a lot cleaner. There is no fuel filter external on this. There's an in-tank fuel filter on it that as long as you've got the strainer in place that comes from the factory, any debris can be easily cleaned out of that. So it keeps the fuel system nice and clean. And as you go deeper into it, the longer type of services you're going to do on them is maybe do some brake adjustment. Again, just to keep it safe when you're out there ripping around. Check your tires, check the condition of the tires, check the pressure on the tires as well. And engine oil, 530, 1030, depending on your climate that you're in. Depending on the amount of hours you're putting on it, it could be a seasonal change, so maybe in the fall or the spring of the year. Or if you're doing a lot of riding on it, like if you've got a lot of property and using it to check fences or something like that, you want to do a little bit more frequent changes.
Okay. So I'm going to drop this thing down here.
All right.
Let's drop it down. Very easy.
Very easy, nice and smooth.
Now we got some more questions coming in. Once again, if you're just tuning in, you're watching See It Work. I'm Dan. This is Derek. We're talking about the Coleman 196cc trail bike today. A few more questions. Oh boy, where do we begin? You know, there's just flooding in here. Here we go. Here's a good one. What are they like for maintenance? David just asked. We just talked about it.
Really simple.
We'll talk about it again.
Yeah, really simple. I mean, basic maintenance would be cleaning your air filter, making sure that your fuel is clean and stabilized, and checking your oil level consistently. And then also frequent oil changes, right? If you're doing a lot of mileage on it, frequent oil changes, it's going to help that motor last a lot longer.
Brian asked a great question, and thank you, Brian, for reminding us this. What's the difference between the two bikes? They're actually the same bike, spec-wise, except...
That's right, the back rack.
For the back rack.
Yeah, so this one would be referred to as the wide body, and of course the rack's a little bit wider at the back, so that's the real big difference on it. As we can see here in the footage, you could put an extra jerry can on it if you're going out on a long ride. You could put some supplies in it, get a small crate or container, cooler, strap it to the back. If you're going fishing or something like that, put your tackle box on it. Very handy.
You put anything on it.
Yep. It's got 4 small tabs on the bottom to wrap rope or bungee cords on.
Okay, Ben. Ben from the YouTube channel, he asked, does the bike have an LED headlight?
It does not. It has a bulb. It could be upgraded. It's a 12-volt circuit to it, so you could easily adapt it to a nice bright LED bulb. Yeah, one of the nice upgrades.
And Ben also asked, does it do any sweet jumps?
It does sweet jumps.
It does sweet jumps.
Yeah.
Did I get to that level when I drove it? Absolutely not. You're going to need to put a little more time.
You're gonna get a little bit of
and
mud on the tires.
If you're going to be doing sweet jumps, Ben, you're going to want to make sure you purchase some safety gear. This is another accessory that you really need.
That's right.
With the Coleman trail bike. This is the helmet package that we're giving away today. This is a great example of a helmet you can use.
Yeah, it's a full face helmet. Yeah, it's got a nice sun visor on it, nice pair of goggles. Keeps the sand, if it's a windy environment, keeps the sand out of your eyes. It comes with a nice helmet bag to keep it nice and scratch free. Yeah,
it's like this very nice lined bag.
Yep.
You know, and you just throw it in there, and you feel like a high roller when you walk around with this thing. Yeah. So don't forget about that, Ben, if you're going to do sweet jumps. Okay, a few more questions here.
Sure.
Let's go with what kind of oil does it take? We talked about that.
It's just conventional motor oil you can find anywhere. 530 to 1030 would be the grade typically, and that's depending on, again, the climate that it's in. It's going to have all of that information in the service manual as well that you'll get with the bike.
Kyle wants to know, does it have gear shift or is it automatic?
It's a centrifugal clutch. So once the fuel, the gas is applied via the throttle, the faster the engine speed, the clutch engages and it takes off. You're going to get about 3,600 RPM, I think, out of these motors at max when it hits the governor. So your top speed on an average size, adult would be maybe somewhere around 25 or so miles an hour.
Okay, now Laura, Winnipeg, very important question. Can the trail bikes be found in all stores or do I have to order it online?
They can be ordered online. There is not always stock in each store, so you could call your local store to find out, but they can always order one for you.
These have been very popular.
Absolutely, very popular.
And you know what? Watching this, I want to go. We got to ride again. We got to ride again. I think we got to ride again.
Yeah.
We can ride right now. Can we ride right now? Let's ride right now. Let's go out. It's see it work. We got to see it work. The video's only good enough for a little bit, so let's go see it work.
All right.
Live. Yeah. Let's get this going.
Okay. You're comfortable with this? You've got
I'm comfortable.
You've got some time on the seat?
I've had some time on the seat.
All right. Let's go. All right, we're going to be heading outside here. Our Planet Road location.
Yeah, we're heading out. I hope no one is...
I'll get the door for you.
Yeah, sure. As you can see, very easy to just maneuver this bike. Oh shoot, I left my phone inside and we got a winner to announce.
All right.
So that's great. We're going to announce the winner of the prize right after we get this started up and someone tells me who won.
So quick and easy to start. Make sure that the fuel's turned on.
Okay, so fuel.
So the fuel
is on.
We're going to make sure the choke is on.
Choke is off. Now it's
on. And then we're going to make sure that the switch is set to run the kill switch.
Yeah.
So the small tab in is run. The large paddle would be just to kill it, nice and handy by the throttle.
Yep.
And then we'll give her a pull.
Let's see it work.
Yeah. Yep, now we turn the choke off all the way.
We're good to go.
All right.
No, we're not. You know, I'm very skilled at starting machinery.
What's that one?
Yeah, I know. We'll leave the choke on for a bit. There we go. Really easy to ride. Super easy. I lost it there just because, we haven't really been running this thing all the time. But what a great way to spend a nice day outside. So thank you for tuning in to see it work. We got to announce a winner. Hold on. Got to grab the phone. Let's see who won. Let's see who won today. The winner today, Matt Lubitz. You just won this helmet, not the one I wore. We'll give you a fresh one. So yes, congratulations, Matt. Thank you all for tuning in to see it work. I'm Dan, this is Derek. We'll see you next time.